All right. Welcome, everybody, to our session on home share in Montgomery County.
You have something on here. You're doing Zoom?
Session is dedicated to villages and village members so that they all learn about what is this program, what's offered, and give you a chance for Q&A. We're also going to have a testimony from a homeowner who is experiencing it as we go along. And I wanted to introduce our speakers today. We have Michelle Higgs from Housing Initiative Partnerships. And we have Jennifer Hammer from Silver Nest. And Michelle, I'm not seeing Sue as your rep homeowner. Do you want to check in with her and see if she's able to come on board?
Yes, I'm going to check with her. She had a problem earlier. Let me catch her.
Okay, so hopefully she'll join. Originally, we planned for Michelle to go first, Sue to go second, and Jennifer to go last. But we will accommodate, and when Sue is able to join us, we will let her give her kind of personal experience testimony on what it's like and what the process has been like. So, oh, Michelle is here, so I guess I'm going to have to wait for her as well. In the meantime, I'll say this. So the villages have been working with communities all around the county for many years. And we've talked about home sharing, different contexts. There was a lot of interest initially. I think COVID had raised a lot of concerns around with different people and families. So I think we're here going to talk about not just about home share in general, but also the kind of COVID specific accommodations and adjustments we've made so that people feel comfortable and safe in making those arrangements happen. I am going to turn it over. There you are, Michelle. Have you heard from her?
Mary, I'm sorry. I left her I just sent her a message. I'm going to send her another.
Okay.
Send her a text, so I'm going to send her another email.
Hopefully she's not challenged having any
Zoom. I would try to get in contact with her. So keep going, okay?
Thank you, Claudia. That's perfect. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Michelle, to give you a chance to offer your perspective and presentation on home share with HIP.
All right. And if I can share your screen, there we go.
Beautiful.
Let's see here. One moment. First, I looked at it a moment ago, and now it's not here.
Take your time.
Got it. Never fails. Within a second. There.
Do you want to email it to me, Michelle, and I can put it out?
Yeah, it's just locked up there. Sorry. Okay. Okay. It's all
Yeah,
there.
if you want to, I could also show it, Michelle, if you email it to me.
Okay.
Michelle, do you want Jennifer to go ahead and then you get your stuff sorted and we'll go switch around the order of agenda?
Actually, I have it.
Yeah.
She shared it. So why don't
There we go.
I grab the screen?
Okay, you show the screen and then Michelle talk.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. It's like best laid plans.
We've all been there. You see it?
Yes, we got it. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Lisa.
Okay. So let's do this. And let's do this. Okay. There we are. All right. Again, I'm Michelle Higgs, and I am the outreach coordinator for the home sharing program. And we're very excited about this program because, as you've heard a number of people say, they're very interested and eager to see this come about. And they really want to know what the program is all about and how they can be involved. So I'll start with that. Let me first of all tell you about Housing Initiative Partnership. We're an innovative green housing counseling agency based in PG County. And we've spent more than 30 years providing services that improve the quality of life in communities we serve in Maryland. Among those services are our development and rehabilitation. Why is it not advancing for me? Excuse me again. Lisa, are you able to advance? Okay, great. Among our services are affordable multifamily development and resident services. We do single family rehabilitation and new construction. We do housing counseling, which includes home buyer education and counseling, mortgage and foreclosure prevention counseling, rental and eviction prevention counseling, and budget and credit counseling, and homelessness prevention counseling, which we call rapid rehousing program. So we serve homeowners as well as home seekers and renters. Next slide. Now we're going to talk about home sharing, and first you want to know, what is home sharing? Well, home sharing is a process where a homeowner will offer a spare room or an accessory dwelling unit in their home to rent for home seekers who are searching for affordable, healthy, and safe housing for longer than 6 months. We want them to be in place for at least 6 months. Our housing counselors help both the home seeker and the homeowner to navigate the process and find a compatible match using remote technology. And we are offering neutral guidance and free advice to help them find a successful match. Our aim is to create a successful match. And the point of this is to reduce social isolation, create a monthly income for the homeowner, and generate new affordable housing options for the home seekers. And also to have seniors have the option to stay, to age in place, to stay in their homes as they like. And we are supported by the Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services. And as a part of that affiliation, we are able to offer a few months of free access to the Silver Nest platform, which is the electronic platform that we use for matching. And that provides background checks and lease creators for the homeowners. Next slide. Now, to go to the benefit of home sharing, there are a number of them. Homeowners get an increased sense of security. and it reduces the social isolation, particularly over these last couple of years when people have been pretty much stuck in their homes. It gives them a new stream of income, and it helps to locate a housemate to share such things as light housekeeping or assistance with errands in exchange for reduced rent. In many occasions, we can talk with the homeowner, and if we have a home seeker who needs a little help, they might be able to exchange services for rent. The home seeker will get an affordable housing option in a rental market that offers few. And it connects homeowners and home seekers to create a mutually beneficial relationship. I know in my opportunities to speak with homeowners and home seekers, I mentioned that, you may have someone now that you can have coffee with in the morning. You may be able to sit down and see a movie together in the evening. So it could create a relationship as well as a housing opportunity. And finally, for the community, the whole process strengthens neighborhoods by offering an efficient use of the existing housing that helps people remain in their homes and find affordable housing. Next slide. Now, this is how we can help. As I mentioned earlier, we have certified HUD housing counselors who offer free advice and help homeowners and home seekers to identify their personal preferences, navigate the online matching platform, and create a compelling profile. And we carefully assess the potential matches to identify compatible housemates. So we're not just helping them to put together a profile, but we're helping them to look within those profiles to see what works for them, to help them work with that. And then finally, we help them to finalize an appropriate home sharing agreement. In terms of in the profiles, they get to specify what their preferences are, their needs are, and we help them work with those items to create a home sharing agreement that will work for both parties. And finally, we aim to increase the likelihood of a successful match through a thorough and thoughtful consideration of participants' preferences, needs, responsibilities, and rights. So we embrace the process fully and help them understand all of it. Next slide. Okay, our process, it's only 6 steps. And you submit an inquiry, which comes through our website or through a phone call to our 301-85 share number. And when that happens, they will speak to me and I'll tell them about the program and see if they're interested in moving forward, get them registered, and then pass them over to our housing counselor who will do an intake and in-depth look at their budget and expenses to see how they would fit into the program. If they can, if the renter can afford the rents that are being asked, and just how the homeowner is settled in their home, and if everything is okay with their mortgage and so forth. And then we help to each party to create a profile, whether that's taking the pictures or putting in information about their preferences and their desires for a person to share their home. And then we go into finding the ideal housemate. And often that's helping them to assess who has reached out to them in the profile. Pardon? I thought I heard someone ask a question. So we are helping the homeowner and the home seeker to find the ideal housemate, either by guiding the homeowner to the platform to look for a housemate, or guiding the housemates or the renters into the profile to look for a particular home to rent. And then we come to finalizing the home sharing agreement, which we start with the homeowner to help them work through the agreement and determine how they want to present that to the housemate. And then sustaining the match, as I said, we embrace this process from start to finish. So After we've completed all of these steps and we've got a match, then we circle back to see how things are going. A month out, 2 months out, 3 months out, to be sure that rents are being paid on time, everybody's getting along. And those things are important because our purpose is to sustain a successful match. Now, our next slide, please. Now, this covers the benefits of the preferences. There's a way to verify the user identity for the homeowner and the home seeker. It creates a property listing for the homeowner that would include photos. That's one of the things that we do, is we help with the photos, whether it's helping them put photos into their profile or whether we go and take photos for them. And then there are new COVID conscious features that allows the homeowners to select what their level of comfort is with COVID protocols. And they can also gain a emblem that says that they have already risen to a level of comfort where they are certified that they have COVID conscious features, and people will understand that they have a guideline for their home. The next step is finding the match. And there's a user dashboard that will give information about the property. And each party can browse listings and suggested matches. The renter can submit an application for listing. And there's an opportunity to send messages securely on the platform, back and forth. They can reach out, ask questions, apply, and things like that. And then we talk about peace of mind in that there are background screens that are covered through through our grant. And then within this platform, there's a lease creator that we can help the homeowner to work with. Next slide. Now, this is just an example of how we work with a homeowner. This is a page that would show up in Silvernest for a homeowner. And this just indicates how the page would look. On the left, you see our homeowner. And as part of our work with the homeowner, generally we'll take a picture, and that picture will show up on the Silvernest page so that anyone who is looking at the property would see the person who owns it. As part of our work with the homeowner, we give advice and counsel, which I've mentioned before. We do a home visit now that we were not able to do during the whole COVID crisis. And when doing that, we take the photos and or video of the property that will best show the rooms that they have available, as well as the amenities that they're sharing, be that the kitchen or the laundry room, the bathroom, backyard, whatever piece of the property that the home seeker is going to be sharing. And in this page, not only do you see the pictures, but you see a description of the home and description of the amenities and the monthly rent that the individual is seeking and the deposit that she wants. So in this page are all the details that a home seeker would need to make a considered judgment about whether they want to try to live here. We also help with the description, in terms of what do we want to call this property that makes it most appealing. So this is a very convenient and quiet single family home with lots of parking. She has on-street parking. The homeowner actually parks in the driveway, so there's room. And in this description, she's also near public transportation. So this would be a great place for someone who's looking for a space in Rockville. Next one. I will share a discussion from our homeowner, who is Sue Bracy in Silver Spring. We worked with her, I guess for a few weeks to try to get her settled in a relationship with a home seeker. And it so happens that we did. And it was one of those special ones where this woman was planning to move from another state to come here. So I will let Sue handle that information. And I will stop here and let Sue share. And then after our questions and answers, I'll come back with my information. Claudia, did we get Sue?
Okay, so I haven't been able to get in contact with her. I try. So I'm gonna improvise. I'm gonna talk about because I was the one that interviewed with Sue. So can I share the screen for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Sorry, everybody. I apologize. We talked to her earlier, and I don't know what's going on. But anyway. All right. So I'm just gonna show Sue. Listen. Okay. So this is Sue. Sue was originally in Sylvanus to begin with, and she opted to be with us in the program. We interviewed her. Michelle and I went to her home. We interviewed her and figure out what is it that she was renting, the room, and took some pictures, but she already has some pictures online as well. She called me many times because she was very worried about, the match. She was very active. She was looking for her own match most of the time, but we were also looking from our own clients to match her with somebody at the same time. She was able to get in contact with someone that lives in North Carolina. This lady was trying to move to DC. She's a journalist. She likes to write about politics. So she wanted to move near DC, and she needed a room for rent. However, her budget compared to what Sue was asking for was some negotiation that I had to be part of it. Because I went over sort of like the budget with Christine to figure out what she can afford, how her income is, goes and credit and all that information. And it also went with her Sue's budget to figure out how much lower she can charge just in case, it would be a problem that wouldn't be matching. So in the end, Christine came to Maryland, had an interview with Sue, and we ended up, because Michelle and I went to the actual house and visit and, sort of like kind of took pictures, we figured out that she had another room for rent. Not another room for rent. She just wanted to rent the room upstairs, but Christine did not want it to go up and down the steps to go to the bathroom. So that was a negotiation, and ends up that she had another place that she can rent right beside the bathroom. So it just took a lot of phone calls back and forth, negotiating and trying to make both parties feel good, right? The one moving and the homeowner. We were able to finally have them move in. I can show you, this was the original room. Let me see. Okay, this is the original room, which is sort of like upstairs in the attic. And it had like a room and a living room and a sitting room, but it was to go to the bathroom was down the steps. So that's something that I had to kind of like learn how to negotiate with the homeowner and the home seeker to make them match. Whenever you like dealing with homeowners that are seniors, it was a lot of making them feel good about this process. It wasn't easy because they're very worried about like every single little detail. The kitchen, this is the kitchen that is shareable. So we went over, when we interviewed them both, we went over sort of like the agreements and the lease. And so we were like, me and Michelle were involved in every single step of the process. to the point where we were going through every detail to figure out what is it they're gonna share, who's gonna take the trash, who's gonna do the dishes, like just little details that, you know, that there's a lot of information that I can find in Silvernest, but it is also information that as Housing Initiative Partnership we provide. Like my job more is with the budget and the credit, and Silvernest had the other side, which was like the little details of the home sharing. So I don't know if I'm speaking so quick, but if anybody has any questions, let me, I'm gonna open up for questions.
And by the way, I just called Sue again, and it's either something's wrong with her phone or I don't know quite, but I just got a voicemail again. So if you have any questions, we can cover the process. And I think Claudia did a great job going through it because it's pretty much as we described. So if you have any questions about the specifics, we'd be happy to talk about them.
Everybody's so quiet. And again, I apologize.
That's
What's
okay.
the,
She
what's
might
the
have-
typical range for rent? Is it always around 850? Is it like 500 to 1,000? What?
It usually runs around, let's say it's usually like 750, and I've seen people go up as high as 1,200. And that's because the home owner generally has an inflated idea of, you know, everybody thinks their space is best, you know, and so that's sometimes the gap that we have to work with. It's the home seeker has this much money and the homeowner is looking for that much. So sometimes we have to make part of the discussion.
Yes, so in this case, we went from like 800 to 550. So it took a lot of negotiating to, you know, give it to a point where the home seeker can afford it and the homeowner was happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's $550 to $1,200 on average?
This is an unusual case, but I guess you could say that. We don't want to imply that 550 is the norm.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people come in thinking that they can pay $400 or $500 from a room, and that's not the norm. In this instance, the room was smaller. The homeowner wanted to have somebody in there, and they had talked, and they had already had a meeting of the minds, I'll put it that way. And so it was a little bit different in that I would stick with 750 because this is a little bit off the norm.
Let's use a range. So the range would be, as Michelle mentioned, 550 to 1,200, depending on the size of the room, depending on the other amenities that are offered.
I will say that the program also takes into consideration the fact that a home seeker and a homeowner can potentially negotiate services in lieu of rent. So if someone owns a home and they want a person who would share their home and take responsibility for particular tasks in the house, then they can discuss, okay, what does that mean? How much of a lower rent can I get if I do all the yard work, or if I'll do the shopping, whatever it is. I think that there's an avenue there to also reap
Right.
benefits in kind so that the actual cash that a renter has to put in is lower.
Yeah, we offer that option to them.
Go ahead, Barbara.
I just wondered how you figure out the utilities.
So the
That's-
utilities are usually included in the rent.
Okay.
Not most of the time, but this time was included on the rent, in the rent.
And most folks are not offering cable or anything like that. And, you know, that's generally outside of any discussion of utilities. But for the most part, they'll include it in the rent.
There was another hand raised, I think. Margaret, was your hand raised? No. I want to give
I can ask
Jennifer.
other questions offline. I just wondered how many families are participating at this time.
Right now, we have 5 solid matches. That's not speaking to the number of people we have spoken with. I would say in this last year, we've spoken with over 100 homeowners and a little bit more than half as many home seekers. I'm sorry, over 100 home seekers and about half as many homeowners. And as we've described, this process is not a quick solution in that we have to talk with them and work with them time and again to sort of wiggle our way into a spot that everybody's happy on both sides. So it's not a fast process, but we've been successful with these 5. So.
I'll just jump in to mention in sort of response with the households that HIP is working with. You know, Michelle, I think you mentioned over 100 households that we're currently working with, and matching has been sort of the challenge has been COVID to this point. So the pipeline that we have, I think now that we're moving beyond the pandemic, we're anticipating seeing a lot more matches coming up, but there are many, many people who are interested. There's just been some hesitancy around safety for folks who are thinking about matching. So fingers crossed that we're moving past that moment in time.
Yeah, it's just in recent weeks, to Mary's point, we've gotten, a few more, they're sort of dipping their toe into things now, that things are clearing up and you can get around just wearing a mask and you don't have to wear a gas mask. People are getting a little bit easier. I mean, even to the point where folks are allowing us to come to their homes. Early on in the process, homeowners were, definitely, are you wearing a mask? Are you wearing a shield? Can you sit 6 feet away? But in recent visits, it's been more collegial. We could sit on the sofa and wear our masks. And even in 1 or 2 cases with a recent homeowner who was a younger homeowner, she forgot to wear her mask and she went racing to get it. And so it's easing up a little bit. So I'm hoping, as Mary said, that things will start to flow as the COVID crisis does eat up.
I'd like to give Jennifer Hammer from Silvernest a chance to make some comments, and then we'll go to Marcia. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Sure. So I'm Jennifer Hammer, and I am on the partnerships team of Silvernest. So we're the technology that powers this home sharing platform. So as far as the Montgomery County home sharing program, you're hearing from the experts right now on that. That's the HIP team. So if you really just think of Silvernest as a tool that supports this program, that's what we are. So, HIP has got, parameters set around this program for, who they serve, where they serve. It's Montgomery County specific. And they do a lot of that, really high touch concierge service that a technology just can't do. I don't have, we don't have offices anywhere. We're all kind of a remote team with a tech platform that is available in all 50 states. So it's really a great partnership in that we can help scale. We can take, we have ways of, we can find someone that maybe came to our platform and they're in Montgomery County and alert them that, hey, there's a partnership we have in Montgomery County. So you might want to check that out if you need, some additional resources that we can't provide. But then on the Montgomery County side, luckily they didn't have to build out a matching algorithm, which, as I have learned working for a technology company, which I never thought I would, it takes a lot of resources and a lot of really smart people who understand computer coding to do that. And then just, the ability to upload photos, to do background screens seamlessly, things like that, we're just really positioned as a tool that supports this program. So I'm happy to kind of, answer kind of questions from a high level of what we see in the home sharing world, kind of, around the nation in certain geographies, but the specifics of Montgomery County program is, you, like I said, heard from the experts on that. So Margaret, you were asking a little bit about rents, so I can tell you kind of nationally what we see. And of course, it's going to vary depending on geography and offerings and amenities, but nationally, the average is $850 a month. And then the savings nationally over market rate rent is $750. So it tells a pretty quick ROI story. Five matches means that's 10 people. So if we suddenly have an influx of 850 on one side and a savings of 750, some quick math tells you that those numbers add up quickly for a solution that is much more affordable and much more quick to build than an affordable housing complex. So, and I just like that it's one more choice in the myriad of choices that are there. An affordable housing complex might be the place for you, but it might not. And if we can, just give people one more choice in this continuum of housing, I think that's a good thing. From a personal little note here, I also home share after I got divorced and my kids, last one went to Virginia Tech. I had a 4-bedroom and a dog, decided this might be a good thing to do. And I'm a 3-year home share now. So it really is. I think Michelle talked a little bit earlier, and we see this nationally too. It takes a little while. It takes people a little while to maybe wrap their heads around, maybe this could be a solution for me. And then, let me talk to the HIP team and think about it and get my house ready and find that perfect match. So it really is, there is a little bit of lead time that's required for this. It's not, you can't just go, hey, we have a home sharing program, and the next week someone's going to have a roommate. There is a little bit of a process to this, but I think the kind of care and commitment that, we on the Silvernest team have and HIP has is going to just continue being successful. And, the COVID thing was a setback, but I think it's we're seeing more traffic than we've ever seen before now on our site. I think as COVID restrictions lift and as, the moratoriums on rent ended, all of those things are going to lead to more and more home sharing in Montgomery County and elsewhere. So happy to take questions though.
Go ahead, Marcia.
I'm sorry?
No, Marcia was gonna say something.
Oh, okay.
Her hand is raised.
Yes, to both Jennifer and Michelle or whomever. Couple questions. One, what have you seen as, are there any guidelines that you've learned nationally about successful home sharing partnerships? Are we talking about multi-generational? Do you see that as those kinds of things? I would love to hear more about. And then the second question is the safety issue having nothing to do with COVID? So I guess for Jennifer, going back historically before COVID, historically speaking, I think that would be one of my major concerns. Am I sharing somebody from a crime point of view,
Sure.
from the
Sure.
background checks kind of issues? Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna share just probably a quick snapshot that can, instead of me just talking at you, has everyone got my screen here? I'm gonna scroll through. Michelle did a great job of covering a lot of things. So this is a snapshot here of kind of I talked a little bit about our monthly rent, but this is some national statistics of what we're seeing. And to your question about intergenerational opportunities, on our website, we see about a 25% opportunity for that just with the people who sign up. So we're, if you just go into silvernest.com, not through, Montgomery County home sharing or other programs that are set up for intergenerational, that's what we see in our population. Some programs across the country are very focused on intergenerational relationships or require them, or have age limits, or have geographical limits or income limits. And so we can support those programs, but just from a, general go in as a direct user to a platform, these are numbers we see. And I think Michelle mentioned this, or somebody did too about help around the house. Maybe it was Pizit, sorry, I can't remember. But we do see on our platform too that 40% of homeowners are willing to consider reducing the rent for help around the house, and that's non-medical, non-licensed care, things that I would define as chores, raking the leaves, mowing the lawn, doing some dishes, things like that. So, and that's all part of that home sharing arrangement. And you can read the rest. Our users tend to be female and, over 50, a little bit older on the homeowner side. That is not a requirement on our platform. It just tends to be, and part of the reason we're called Silver Nest, that tends to be who has room. So empty nesters, maybe widows, that tends to be who has some room to share, and probably on a fixed, maybe, or coming close to being on a fixed retirement income. And we all know that those property taxes are not getting any lower, and it gets hard. You get caught in the middle between wanting to stay in your house and being able to afford to stay in your house, or even being able to afford to move. So, this is a solution that is I think really good for a lot of people. Our average our average length of lease on our platform nationally is about 11 to 12 months. But when I started with Silver Nest 3 years ago, it was about 9 months. So as our company gets older, it looks like our leases are getting a little bit longer. So, and I think there's another one in here to go to your question about kind of security. So we take security very, very seriously. And this, I don't think any of this has anything to do with COVID. So to get on our platform, you have to verify your identity. You have to verify that you are who you say you are. We do have background checks available for both home seekers and hosts, and those are done by a third-party verification, third-party background check company called Checkr. It's a CHECKR if you want to learn more, but they are a very well-respected background screen company. Uber uses them. Lots of companies rely on them. And then there's that private messaging aspect on the platform as well. You don't have to give away any kind of information before you're ready. All of your messages to potential housemates and homeowners are encrypted. And then there is the compatibility piece. That's the secret sauce of what we do, making sure that we put you with somebody who's compatible, because nothing else, if you're not compatible, it's not going to work. That's any relationship, beyond home sharing. So that's part of what we do. But then that compatibility matters, but also communicating and really getting out in front of problems before they become problems. Something as simple as, maybe we should have talked about doing laundry after 10 p.m. So, if we'd have just talked about that from the very beginning, instead of someone laying in their bed and getting really upset at 10:30, those little things can be avoided. And we all know this, right? I think as we get a little bit older, and I'm the same, I'm 52. So, I have, my little quirks and things that bother me, but, we talk about them and we get out in front of things, and, my roommate and I both know the benefits of living this way far outweigh our risks. Somebody knows when I come home at night from a business trip, or, whatever, some kind of just being out late, just the knowledge of somebody knowing that you exist is pretty great. It's somebody just rolling in the trash cans every once in a while. It's your daily life is so much better when you just kind of have someone that you feel like cares that you come home at night. It's a really great feeling. So, are there always risks in anything? Yes. We do everything we possibly can to get out in front of those risks. I think sometimes maybe living alone or losing your house is a little more risky than, finding someone who's compatible, letting your family know who you are, engaging with a program like HIP that can help you, further vet candidates. I think all of those things, are really important. So, and we do, just like, HIP stays with their folks through the whole process, and they are there as a resource. We want to be too, as much as we can as a technology company. So, that's, I guess, I hope that answers your question. I know I kind of went on a bit long there, but we really do take it pretty seriously.
It does, but one of the other aspects, so do you have like a list to give people for sharing your like, like I'm looking for a mate kind of things. In other words, I don't mean well, yeah, like you're talking about, like, I realize I don't want somebody, if somebody shares my house, what about all the friends they have? I would want some restriction on how many guests the person could invite to our home that we're sharing.
Well, you can get to make those kinds of restrictions in two ways. Silver Nest actually has a spot where you can say, that you can say what you want in the Silver Nest platform, but you can also make that clear in any agreement that you make for your home shares. You say, no parties at all.
Right.
Or no visitors over the weekend except for one person, or no visitors more than 2 days a week. It's your home, it's your rules, and we can help you craft something like that, because we also suggest like interview questions for the homeowner as
Yes.
they're looking for someone there. And in the Silver Nest platform, there are other ways of doing this. But as we're talking with people, we have things that we have created to help them to understand these are some questions that you can ask, and we can make further suggestions. Because again, we want to make it work, so we do what we can.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. And those home sharing agreements, just to kind of piggyback on Michelle's perfect answer, those can be adjusted, as you find out things, or, as you live together. This isn't, you don't sign, you don't make this home sharing arrangement and answer these questions one time and that's it. Those can, as you live together, stuff's going to come out. Maybe there's a new issue that you hadn't thought of, or a new, or you go, you know what, your kids are great. We're going to adjust this visitor policy. So, you can adjust things. We did. It's odd to live with someone in the very beginning.
Right.
We're not accustomed to it usually when we get a little bit older. My kids will just go have a roommate, no problem. But it was a little bit of adjustment for my roommate and I. And I consider myself a pretty flexible, funny person, but all of my inflexibilities were definitely brought to the surface. But you're humans, and once you build that connection with another human, I think we tend to just kind of, you let your guard down a little bit and you go, okay, now I know this person, we've been living together 6 months. I think we could maybe revisit some things that I was worried about at the very beginning.
You can allow a little grace in the relationship.
Well, we have successfully been joined by Sue Brady. So welcome. We apologize if you had any technical challenges. That must have been frustrating for you. So we have a few more minutes before we adjourn this session, and I want to give you the time to share your experiences and your thoughts and your words of wisdom for anyone interested in this program moving forward.
I think the upfront planning is really important. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And that was really helpful. Claudia and Michelle both spent time with me, making certain we got that right. And that was good. And I appreciate that. Yeah. I've done this a long time, so this is not new to me. I've done Airbnb, and I've also had roommates and renters in my house in the past. So, but this is new for me as an older person. And it was a little more scary, but they made it so that I was very comfortable. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Great.
What do you think was the difference between doing an Airbnb and having this home share situation?
Not a lot different, or I don't handle it a lot different. I think all it is it's hospitality, as I see it. And so it's a matter of making certain the person is comfortable, but this is different in the sense that I'm living here. So I'm living with the person. Yeah. And so that makes an adjustment. Where Airbnb, they were on their own. Right. And I interacted with them, but I didn't have that day-to-day interaction. the getting up in the morning, making coffee in the same space and that kind of thing. So that's, but it's good.
Does anyone have a question for Sue? I don't want to be the only one that is.
What has been your biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge is always just to kind of make certain a person is comfortable and knowing that they're coming from some other space. They and it's a real adjustment to them also, and to give space for that and time. That's the other thing. So yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Well, we only have a couple more minutes, so I want to give anyone a chance to either ask one last question or just express their thoughts or ideas or feedback on this program. Go ahead, Kathleen.
So is there any thought about marketing this? I remember once talking to somebody at Home Instead Senior Care, and they explained to me that their marketing target was Kathy. Kathy was just this composite of like a daughter who was, not living in the area, who was trying to make sure her mom was safe. And they would target to that Kathy person with their messaging. I'm wondering how that would be working. It sounds like there may be a lot of adult children who would be interested in this for their parents. Maybe not their parents would be interested, but they'd be interested. I'm just wondering if there's any effort through Silver Nest or through the Montgomery County program to do that kind of marketing or outreach.
I mean, I can speak from a Silver Nest side. We've discussed maybe, as you said, it could be a solution for parents, or it could be a solution for what tends to be the eldest daughter, a lot of times taking care of parents, as a way to have supplemental income, because I think the average is about $7,500 that the average person is out of pocket in additional expenses taking care of their parents every year. So to maybe even gap that caregiving income and just have somebody at home while you maybe are living with your parents, part-time or quarter time. So I think there's definitely opportunities in that field.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm sorry.
Lisa.
I can piggyback on that question. I'm wondering, when I started looking for a roommate this time around, I was like, I ended up going out to places like Craigslist and Roommates and Rooms2Share.com and all those places looking. And I'm wondering whether it might be advantageous for Silver Nest also to let folks know that you're out there and you're looking to match people up. Because a lot of times when I talk to somebody, I said, well, have you heard of Silver Nest? Because I want you to go through Silver Nest. They would say, no, I never heard of it. And they would sign up then with Silver Nest. And I said, wow, but perhaps Silver Nest could actually put an advertisement, so to speak, on a monthly basis out on those platforms to just say, hey, we're available and we're matching folks up and you might want to contact us. I think some people would really be interested in that, and they don't know about it. Young people who are looking for space.
Right. No, we try to get the word out, and this is one of the ways as much as we can. Craigslist, has their own ways of doing business. So I don't know that we're allowed actually to be on there. And, one day maybe I'll have enough, we'll be a big enough company to be able to have a Super Bowl ad or something. But right now, we're pretty tight with our ad dollars right now.
You
to be
think
quite
really
frank.
big.
Yeah. So,
Well, you can advertise in the Beacon, right?
I know. I really wish I
Oh,
had
you have,
unlimited
okay.
ad spend. You'll have to talk to our marketing department. But yeah, I would love to have, more money to spend on ads. We just, there's budgetary concerns like everyone else. So, but this is, so if you can help me spread the word, Sue, I appreciate it. And everybody else.
I'm going to actually check with Craigslist and Roommate.com and Rooms2Share.com if they wouldn't be open to this because it would certainly help their own clients. Anyway, if you don't mind, I'll do some research on that.
I'm always happy to hear ideas. Always.
Right.
All right,
Okay.
so
Yep,
in
that's-
respect of everybody's time.
That's all for free. Yeah.
Just
All
to
right,
this
we're
point,
gonna adjourn right now because it's already 2:01. I appreciate everybody's participation and good questions and involvement, and I hope you spread the word. Once we have the link, we can share this as a video to share. Housing Initiative Partners will be delighted to hear from anyone who is interested in following up and asking additional questions or learning some more about the program. Thank you to Silver Spring Village for offering this Zoom link and helping me get this program going. And I hope to see you all in another interesting session. All right, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you.